offered a more level playing field and the chance to push my limits. At Queens, there's so much opportunity, and our potential for greatness accelerates with every step of our collective journey.
I've always had a knack for
Good evening, everybody, once again, and welcome in to the Queen Sports Network as it's time for the Royals to take the field for the first time as a Division I program here in 2022. A historic night of really packed house in attendance here at Championship Field at Dixon Field in Charlotte, North Carolina, where another North Carolina foe comes west here for the night. As always, I'm Mike Lennon. Alongside me is Will Martin. And Will, like we just talked about, a historic night here for this program, for this school, and really for this city as another Division I team now here in the city of Charlotte, and a great crowd on hand. Will Martin, you a graduate of this particular program, and like we had talked about before, you've got to be proud as an alumni of Queen's University of Charlotte to look at what this team and what this program is now doing this season.
Oh, absolutely. It's really exciting times for the university and the athletic department as a whole to push on into Division I. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Royals take their sustained success from D2 and translate that into the Division I environment.
Well, take a look at what they did a season ago. Both these teams coming off some of the most successful that they have seen in quite some time. The Royals, of course, the all-time winningest team in program history a season ago, and their curtain call, if you will, at the Division II level. 16-5-1, 9-1-1 in the South Atlantic Conference, finished second in the regular season, fell just short to nationally ranked Catawba in the championship game, a heartbreaking 1-0 loss. You and I were on the call for that one. And then, of course, went on to the NCAA tournament, beat North Georgia, and then fell to Lenoir-Rhyne, who made a magical run, did the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears last season. But this team here this year is ready to go, but no slouch on the other side in UNCW. 11-4-1. They won the regular season CAA conference title last year, ended up being upset by Northeastern in the semis. So two very capable teams that return a very good amount of returners from last season.
Absolutely, and like we were talking about a little bit before, I'm really excited to see this very experienced group of women returning to the field for the Royals, but a brand new head coach for the Royals in Coach Neely Knoll. I'm excited to see the stamp that she puts on a very experienced group of players.
First time ever as a full-time head coach, was an associate head coach before. As you take a look at her resume, 5th season at the helm here for Chris Neal over on the other side. They're coming off their best season under his tutelage is UNCW. Meanwhile, Coach Knoll, 12 years of coaching experience, multiple D1 stops. She herself was a 2-time Big Ten champion goalkeeper at Ohio State back in 2002 and 2004. Made multiple D1 stops as a coach at Northwestern, most recently at Fordham, was a 2-time national champion at Grand Valley State. So she may not have that first win as a full-time head coach, but man, she has a lot of W's under her belt, and here she goes taking over this program. As you take a look at Erica Turner, voted the preseason goalkeeper of the year via the fan vote, and a shout out to the Queens fans for that particular voting bit as we had blast that out on social media, and hey, they responded well. That just shows you what kind of community the Royals have. As we are underway for the first time at the Division I level, UNCW wearing the Seahawks green out there, if you will, going right to left to start the night out. Meanwhile, Queens and the home whites had a very successful home run a season ago. 8-1-1, I should say, on this field last season were the Royals. So they're back on their friendly confines. It'll be UNCW, though, with their first offensive possession tonight, and we'll look to keep an eye out. They lost their leading goal scorer a season ago, but returned 4 of the top 5, so very capable goal scorers, but they will have to go up against that seasoned defensive line for the Royals here tonight. Little cross into the box there, chested away by Morgan Reeb, a second-year transfer out of Ohio Dominican here for the Royals. That ball pops back into the box. Still kicking around out there, trying to get it away. Savannah Stewart, a freshman defensive player. And there's going to be a lot of freshmen out there on the field for both teams, as both coaches went out and recruited well this season. So we'll see what they got out there as the freshmen take the field for the first time.
Yeah, what I'm excited to see tonight, Mike, is this 3-5-2 for the Queens Royals. In their last exhibition against Winthrop, it was 0-0 going into the 70th minute. They switched to a back 5 and immediately scored 5 goals. So I'm really excited to see the increased defensive solidity of having an extra center back on the field versus some very strong returning attackers for the Seahawks.
Royals 1-1 in their exhibition, lost to Furman, then of course, like you just mentioned, beat Winthrop. Meanwhile, UNCW coming off 2 losses, but they played the likes of Ohio State and Clemson, and then they got tonight. Then they go on the road on Sunday to play the number 10 ranked team in the nation in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So a bit of a tough shotgun start to the season there for UNCW, but that's exactly the way Chris Neal's team needs to develop if they want to win the CAA again. Now ball led out to Maddie Leone. She's got wheels, was a freshman last year, but she is going to be a proven goal scorer here this season that comes back alongside Nia Gaither as that ball crosses back this way to Hilda Svensson. Another young lady back in the lineup here this year for Queens. She was out all of last season, but we had talked about it 2 years prior to that. She is a woman that can run up and down the flank. That's going to be her job. She plays that defensive midfield position, but she is that flank running up and down the right side all night long. Don't know how she has the wind for it, but she does.
Yeah, and that's a really important part of this 3-5-2 formation is Svensson on this side, and then Durant playing the left wing back role on this side. You can see her now. She's at midfield. She's nominally an outside back, but they're both going to be really high. It's going to be very important for them to get involved both in the attack and in defense in order for this formation to work for the Royals today.
We talked about it, Coach Knoll coming in, getting some good recruits into this recruiting class, a couple of star freshmen that we'll see throughout the year. But she has a heck of a returning defensive side of things. And always nice to know when you come in as a head coach, you can have your defense locked up and not have to worry too much about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be a really big deal as well as they deal with more athletic, more talented players at this Division I level. Defensive solidity is going to be the first thing that they're going to want to find. And especially with the likes of Jada Palmer, who's just cleared that ball. Athletically, she can definitely keep up. And here goes Nia Gaither.
And Nia Gaither, one of those ones that can get out and go and drag to the ground. Whistle will blow. And that'll be a heck of a spot here for the free kick. And Nia Gaither, she was that one last year who ended up hitting that golden goal against Lenore Ryan to win 1-0 in the semis. An electric, just a couple of seconds left in the first overtime. She drilled one home to send them on to that championship game. She is kind of that Johnny on the spot, if you will. She's always there and always focused in on things. So we'll see what she can do tonight. As it'll be Sophia Mutertes, one of the captains, just a second-year player, but named the captain here in Coach Knoll's first season. Played for the Puerto Rican national team last year, did Sophia Mutertes, and scored a goal. Not very often can you say as a collegiate player you score on the international level. As she tried a little left foot trickery that time, Hilda Svensson not reading it. And it goes through the end line out of play. And it'll be a goal kick set up here for the UNC Wilmington Seahawks.
Yeah, that's just a classic little early season mistake there. Not quite getting the set pieces right on the training ground when she was looking to just slip in Hilda Svensson and have her play across the box, but just not on the same page there for Mutertes or Svensson.
Hannah Wise will place the ball down there on the box as the goal kick coming from her. A transfer out of Louisville, first year as a UNC Wilmington Seahawk in her graduate senior year out of Westlake Village, California, wanting to stay on the East Coast, it seems, and why not? Wilmington, a beautiful area, of course. Ball cleared all the way out to the middle here as now the Seahawks going to go back on the offensive side. Good job to keep it in there by a toe. Talia Paris, a returning, got a preseason all-conference nod for the CAA. She is probably the most sound defender that they have. And, you know, like we had talked about, there's been some sound defenders both on the UNC Wilmington side and, of course, for Queens as well, that now they can move up into the midfield role. Kind of a plethora of riches, if you will, for both coaching staffs this season in terms of moving their players around and trying to play that ever-going chess match here with the other side. As ball down on the left side here, nice little back heel that time to Paris. She crosses it across the middle. Reeb gets a foot on it, punches it out of the box, excuse me. As Gaither tried to slide through, ball back in there, but there's Erica Turner reading it well. And Erica Turner, top 10 in the nation last year in goals against average, had a whole lot of saves as well, was part of 81 saves a season ago for this team, and only held opponents to the entire season to 12 total goals last year.
Yeah, and that's a nice one for her, just an easy scoop up. That'll get your hands on the ball one time, just ease the nerves of the Division I opener a little bit and get yourself in the game, especially as a goalkeeper, is important in the early stages here.
That's the other thing. You see the physicality through the middle of the field that time by Olivia Bean, a freshman, but, you know, that is one thing I talked to Coach Knoll about. She said this team, yes, they, of course, are going to be the underdog in every game. They come in getting picked 14th overall in the A-Sun, as to be expected, the newest member of Division I, one of the newest in the country. But this team will never back down from a challenge. Even if the score doesn't show it, they will play hard for that full 90 minutes. And just shows you on the offensive end, not an easy clear by any means for the defense, that's for sure. Ball still kicking around the backside of the field here. Micaiah Parham trying to clear it out. Raleigh native, a couple of Raleigh natives out there on both sides. Good takeaway by Hilda Svensson. Svensson looking across it, nobody there, brings it back, left foot. Now she finds Mutertees. Onside was Mutertees, but she gets it kicked away. And a good defensive play there, somehow keeping it in play as well. And that looked like it was Taylor O'Brien, a freshman defender out of Edmonds, Washington. Up the field it goes, but Jada Palmer there to get it back to her goalkeeper. Jada Palmer, one of the most physical defenders you will see in this country. I don't care what the level is. And if you're going at her full speed, good luck with that. And she becomes a bit of a brick wall at times. So ball loose out here in the middle of the field. Svensson battling with Paris for it. Paris kicks it on down as Erica Turner reading that well. And that's one thing that Erica Turner is going to have to be a little bit more this season. Not to say she wasn't last year, but especially as the competition ratchets up, she's going to need to be aggressive on those loose balls heading back into her area. That's her domain. She's going to have to protect it. Doesn't hurt the fact that your head coach was a two-time Big Ten champion goalkeeper at Ohio State. Takeaway there by the offense. Now a playable ball up and ahead. Shot coming from Kara Mills. Great save by Erica Turner as she kicks it out. And save number one at the Division I level for Erica Turner. Looking like she was meant to be a Division I player all along.
Yeah, it's Madison Henry in there. It's just a simple turnover from the freshman Savannah Stewart starting on the back line today for the Royals.
And a good seal off there on the other side, and that ball will head back here to Erica Turner. Couldn't quite see on that far of the side of the field who that was. Erica Turner will kick it out of goal here. Far left side to Jada Palmer, looking to get it to Guglielmo. Tough pass that time, but Guglielmo felt the footsteps, went up and took it back. It was Hannah Heaton that was coming screaming in. And that's the other thing, clearing the ball in the middle of the field. A little bit different animal at the Division I level than it was Division II. Nice little right foot there by Morgan Reed to cut off the pass.
Yeah, we've seen a couple moments already. Seahawks just pressing high, looking for those turnovers and looking to break quickly. The Royals just need a couple more passing options to be a little cleaner, make better decisions. If it needs to go long, it should go long. Couple too many turnovers here that Coach Noel won't be happy with.
We talked about it a lot last year, being sure through the middle of the field and how crucial that was. And that's crucial at every level, doesn't matter what level it might be. But the midfield has gotten some new upgrades this year. Of course, they've lost a lot of talent from a season ago. Both these teams graduated a ton, but luckily for them, it was more of a reload situation than anything else. As that ball loose out in the middle of the field here, taken back again by UNC Wilmington. 10 minutes in. Still trying to jockey for position. And you and I talked about this a lot last year. That first 10 minutes of a game, always crucial, trying to just size each other up, especially for the first ever meeting between these two programs. What have you seen so far here in the first 10 minutes from both sides?
Yeah, from the Royals side, a lot of solidity. They've given up the two bigger chances of the game so far. But, yeah, just both teams really feeling each other out. Like I said a little bit earlier, couple too many turnovers in key areas in your defensive third. You'll get punished for that a lot more at this level than you would at the D2 level, so that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But overall, pretty even match so far.
The returning leading scorer from a season ago, Jordan Favory, a senior out of Ottawa, Canada. Not out there tonight, not sure if an injury possibly. I mean, let's be honest, it happens in this sport. But have a couple of other goal scorers. We talked about not a team that scored a lot. They were second in the conference last year with 28. They're also second with only 15 goals allowed on the season. So that is how both these teams won. They weren't going to come out and put 8-9 goals up in a game. It just wasn't going to happen. They came out and played solid, sure defense, a lot of 1-0 wins, a lot of overtime wins for both these teams. And so here this year, how is that going to translate for Queens? And, of course, how do you improve on that for Chris Neal and his group at UNC Wilmington?
A great flick there from Gaither to put Leon in.
Maddie Leon, going to be a underclassman star for this Royals team. Of course, a lot of these players were recruited as Division II players and stayed on for Division I. Some of the freshmen recruited in, but You know, that was what Coach Knoll said when she got here. She's like, I'm not coming in here and cleaning house. You guys had an incredible team a season ago that got a program record and wins, so it's just a matter of building on that and trying to find players that best fit her system. Morgan Reed will have a free kick from out atop the S here at Dixon Field. And now an explanation looks like going over to the sideline. There is the official talking it over with head coach Chris Neal. I don't think Chris Neal agreed with the idea, but either way, it'll be here for the Royals. Guglielmo will have it off the foot. A two-sport athlete here. She feeds it up ahead to Svensson onside, trying to feed it back towards the middle, but right at Hannah Wise. And Hannah Wise reading it well. The graduate transfer out of Louisville comes over and takes it over. Wise will let everybody clear out here. As a high arcing punt back towards the middle of the field. Now Hannah Wise was a backup goalkeeper at Louisville, didn't play a lot, but comes here and automatically gets the starting role here in the opening game of the season. Both these teams with a couple of exhibition matchups. 1-1 for the Royals, 0-2 for UNCW. First ever meeting though here between these two teams, and of course a welcome sight. Lots of good fans in attendance on both sides here as the folks from Wilmington making the trip a little west here from out on the eastern part of the state. But an exciting time here in Charlotte, and especially if you're a Queens University of Charlotte fan. Svensson showing the physicality there, takes Paris to the ground. It'll stay here with UNCW. Seahawks looking to feed it in. Madison Henry, one of those juniors to keep an eye on here. As a nice little punt towards Erica Turner that time. One hops her, but just on the doorstep of the goal there. Will scoop it up into the breadbasket. Turner with a long goal kick here. Does have a leg out of there. Oh, in a tough spot there. Paris went up in the air, got upended there by, it looked like Hilda Svensson. Not intentional, of course, but Paris selling out the body, showing why she is one of the tougher players on the team. 2022 CAA preseason all-conference honoree. Headlines the Seahawk defense here in 2022. Chris Neal back at his alma mater here for his 5th season. Was a goalkeeper for the Seahawks a few years back. Won't date him. Want to make sure. Was the head coach down at Elon from 08 to 2017. Had 90 wins overall for the Phoenix. Before taking the call to come back to UNC Wilmington. So a couple of good chances into the box here over these last couple of possessions for UNCW. But like I said, a good job by this defensive front doing their job and trying to free up some stuff for the offense.
Yeah, nothing too worrying so far. Just a lot of half chances, other than the one chance where Madison Henry got in behind and a good save. Here's Muterdes coming down the right flank.
Nice little feed on ahead there by Gaither. Muterdes calling it out, gives it back to Gaither along the right side. She's bumped in the back, and it goes through. And it'll be a goal kick. Mike Lennon alongside Queens graduate Will Martin here for this opening Division I competition for the Queens University of Charlotte. Of course, every team going Division I here this season for this school, and such an incredible time for the alumni, for the not just the student athletes and the coaches in attendance who are playing in these sports, but fans and people alike. This is a pretty spectacular time to be a Royals fan. Ball fed on here as reserve coming on. And that is Jordan Favory out of Ontario, Canada. Excuse me, no, it's not. My apologies. Good job there by Reeb. Is actually it's number 18, Isla Venus out of Greensboro. But a free kick from a pretty good spot here. Of course, a bit of an odd angle trying to get a shot on net, but at the same time, you could try to get a header towards this near side.
Yeah, this is you're essentially just going to set this one up the same as you would a corner. You're just going to serve this one in the box, run your same setup that you would on any typical corner in a game. So just anticipate this one getting served in, looking for a header on goal.
Under 29 minutes left to play here in the first half, 0-0. Royals trying to strike first here at the Division I level. Meanwhile, UNC Wilmington, though, a chance to feed it in. Right foot there coming from Paris. Couldn't get all of it on there, but they'll say it ricochets off of a Royal. And it'll be our first corner kick of the night over on the top side of the field. Looks like it'll be McKenna Gardner to feed it in. Sophomore forward out of Wilmington. She'll raise the hand. Here comes the left foot. Low line drive right off the chest that time as Maddie Leone stepped up and took advantage of that one. Stays here, though, with the Seahawks. Another one kicked in, but Erica Turner reads it well, even from the back post. Runs in front and grabs it. Now she throws it out to Svensson, just trying to start a run. And Svensson will live on that right flank. Good feet up ahead as it flicks on. Gaither going to have a foot race here. Trying to get there, and she does. Kicks off the back foot. Where is it? It'll be a corner kick. Carrie Allard, the graduate senior defender out of Belmont, Mass, thought it went off of Nia Gaither. It might have, but either way, Royals will try to take advantage from the corner kick here on the near side.
Yeah, it's a really well-weighted ball from Svensson in there, and it's a good big touch. Nia Gaither just backing her speed to get herself into the corner. Does a good job. Doesn't have a lot of numbers in the box, just wins her side a corner, and it'll be meter to take.
As a high arcing pass in the middle, punched away by Wise. Left foot is there, bouncing around, and it's kicked back out. Svensson trying to keep it there. Quick turn and a right foot, just a swing and a miss by Nia Gaither, and it goes out of play, I should say, into the hands of Hannah Wise. And on that effort, I mean, I understand the quickness of it, trying to catch him napping, but at the same time, what would you have liked to see Gaither do on that one?
Yeah, a difficult skill there to just take it on the full volley on the spin. I think she thought she had a little less time than she did. She had time to take it down, just didn't get the shout. She'll watch the film and wish she'd just taken a touch, put that on the ground, then put a shot on goal.
High pass, good takeaway by Mutertees. Little back heel on there by Maddie Leone, but no one running either side, so it just trickles its way back innocently there to Hannah Wise. That's one thing about this Royals program, and you'll hear them all night, and you can hear them all the way across the field right now. They are very much a vocal bunch, that is for sure, and usually they're the loudest folks. Now, granted, with a crowd like this on hand, first goal, I got to imagine this place is going to go pretty nuts here this evening, but beautiful night for it.
Absolutely.
A little rain passing through earlier, but not so much right now.
Both teams' benches not bothering to sit down on the bench. Leone in a foot race here.
Wise will come up, put a right foot to it, ricochet it right back. Offside was the forward, as it was Braytine Venus that will have to jump back on side, and pretty much goalkeeper just passed into another right there.
Yeah, it's good goalkeeping from Wise, though. She just got to be aware, clean up behind her center backs as the ball goes in behind.
Ball loose down the field. Wise trying to run after it. She'll get there. Jira Durant, Charlotte native, getting the start here tonight. Played a backup role the last couple of years. Had her first goal of her career last season in just 5 games. Didn't play back in 2020, but back in high school, 2-time All-Conference and a Golden Boot winner. So very much a good goal scorer, and finally getting her chance here. And, hey, you know, save it for the Division I level, right?
Absolutely. She's just beaten to the ball there, but throw in for the Royals. And I think that left wing back, she's got a lot of pace over there, very intelligent player. I think that left wing back role suits her very well to be a box-to-box sort of player rather than a true left winger.
Leone with a header back across midfield, gets through the defense, but looks like Gaither got contacted there, maybe by a knee holding her eye. She gets back up. She's beyond tough, that's for sure, but she is back up and ready to go.
Real awkward moment there from Taylor O'Brien, the freshman center back for the Seahawks. Just went to head the ball. I think she thought the ball was going to bounce a little bit higher than it was, and then she ends up catching Gaither on her follow-through, earns a free kick for the Royals.
Always a adjustment period when you're playing on a new field for the first time. Right?
Yeah, and I think we've seen, we'll see the service in here first.
Finds Guglielmo. Comes off of a Seahawk there, bounces back out, and now they'll look to clear. And a foot race between Guglielmo and Paris, and Guglielmo will win it out as that ball goes out of play. Grace Guglielmo, two-sport athlete here at Queens, has been a part of that national championship runner-up lacrosse team back 2 years ago, and then, of course, last year going to the Final Four for the third straight year. And a welcome addition to the soccer team.
Yeah, and that's a good example of what Guglielmo does so well for this team. She just sits in there as that number 6 defensive midfielder and cleans up little situations like that when people are out of position. She's just so good at covering defensively and protecting that back line.
A couple of new Royals on the field as Keely Jackson will step in. Jackson takes the field this year as a senior. Played a lot last year, 18 starts and 20 games played as a defensive back. Great on-ball defense, but she's going to be running that flank on the far side opposite of Hilda Svensson. And then, of course, we'll get our first look at freshman Connie Dutton as well. Out of Birmingham, England, 5'6" she stands. So she gives them a little bit of height up there in the front of that box because there is a decided height advantage here for UNCW here tonight between these two teams. But Connie Dutton, another one of those players on the attacking third of the field that can really give an advantage at different times for this Queens team.
Yeah, and I spoke with assistant coach Keegan Burton before the game, and he said Connie Dutton really impressed in preseason. They went with Nia Gaither from the start just because of her experience and the way that we were talking about she just delivers in games. But Connie Dutton was expected to play big minutes tonight and expected to play a big role for the Royals this year.
I was talking to Coach Noel about her, and she said long strides, so she gets on the ball very quickly, especially when the ball's fed out in front of her. UNC Wilmington trying to control. 22-28 left to go here in the first half. Still nothing our score, as both these teams played a lot of 1-0 games last year. In fact, a vast majority of their wins were decided by 2 goals or less, a lot of them by 1 goal. As a high kick across the middle there, but trickles well out of play in through. Should be a goal kick for Erica Turner, and it is.
Yeah, good little combo play on the opposite side there for the Seahawks. That's an awkward one. She's trying to cross the ball and stand it up on the back post and just gets it a little wrong, and sometimes those drift into the far corner. And you could tell Erica Turner was a little caught off guard, and I think she's a little grateful to see that one just float out of bounds.
So she will take her time as they enter this one in here. 21:40 left to go here in the first half. Still looking for the inaugural goal in the first ever Division I game here played by Queens. And if you're just joining us, we appreciate joining us. We'll be here for a couple games on YouTube, but starting on September the 7th, Queens Sports Network will head over to the ESPN Plus platform. We're excited to have that bit coming our way as well. So all sorts of new exciting things going on here in the city of Charlotte. As the newest Division I program, we, of course, will be on there. Our first game will be Gardner-Webb coming to town to take on the men's soccer program on the 7th of September. First women's soccer game on the ESPN Plus platform will be the 15th, as they will open up home play for the conference against Florida Gulf Coast, another team that is no slouch in the ASUN Conference. And, of course, 14 teams now, largest the ASUN has ever been. And it should be a lot of good competition coming up in a full slate of ASUN games on ESPN Plus. Another game coming up on Sunday, I should say Sunday morning, almost said afternoon, but a little Sunday morning get you started kind of day. 10 a.m. kickoff against Ball State, who will come to town for the second game of the season for this Queens program. And just like every other team this season, they will play a lot on the road. That's naturally, you go into Division I and you do it in 2 months, you're probably going to play a lot of road games. And so UNC Wilmington, of course, a big get on the schedule for non-conference, because not only does that help you get used to it, but it helps you with the RPI. Royals not going to be competing for NCAA championships this year, but they do have an opportunity to compete for the ASUN championship. Kind of unique is the ASUN and allowing teams to compete for conference championships in their first year of Division I play.
Yeah, that's great, and that's big for recruiting as well. When you're in this transition period and you can't compete in the NCAAs, but you still are going to have that tournament at the end of the year, and that opportunity to win a conference title gives you that carrot at the end of the stick that you need to chase throughout the season as you're trying to qualify for the tournament and set yourself up to peak at that tournament as well. It helps bringing in recruits knowing that they can come in and still win championships despite not being able to qualify for NCAAs.
Bellarmine did it men's basketball last year. Team to beat, though, of course, is Lipscomb. They have been the team to beat for quite some time. 4 straight championships for them. 3 straight against Kennesaw State. So, of course, if you're Kennesaw State, never happy to see Lipscomb in the finals. But at the same time, another thriller last year between those two teams. And so Lipscomb comes in preseason favorites again in the ASUN Conference. Queens coming in picked last, as to be expected. But, you know, for Coach Knoll, she said it best. That just gives you an automatic chip on your shoulder to try to prove something. Ball loose up the right flank there. Good recovery by Jada Palmer. She runs it down deep in the corner and just to the right of the flag, so it'll be a deep throw in.
Yeah, she actually ended up doing really well there. I was a bit worried because she tried to jump that pass and had actually missed it and gotten spun, but she's got so much pace that she just turned around and out-sprinted her and got into the ball anyways. Very athletic, but a very intelligent defender, Jada Palmer. She knows how to read the game. She knows how to communicate to people around her in order to not have to use that athleticism all the time as just a get-out-of-jail free card.
Yeah. Keely Jackson will be the throw-in on the other side, right in front of the Royals bench. Kind of the throw-in specialist is Keely Jackson. Has a pretty good arm as she gets, I guess she's a pretty good arms as she throws it with both hands. I told her that she needs to do that handstand front flip throw-in at some point, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll see it this year or not.
A little flip throw-in?
Yeah.
Always love a good flip throw-in.
I always wondered how that's even legal, but, you know, that's another conversation.
As long as both feet are on the ground and both hands are on the ball and it goes completely over the head.
Both teams is trading throw-ins here. That'll get through the end line as Jada Palmer using that size to shield off. Jada Palmer in her senior season here is number 20 in white and blue. Another Charlotte native on this team, went to Mallard Creek High School right up the road. Like we mentioned before, she is one of the most physical and opposing defenders in the country at any level. And with 17:15 to go, another substitution coming on here for UNCW, and that'll be interesting to see tonight kind of who they use as fresh legs throughout the evening.
It absolutely will be.
You see the records there on the top of the scoreboard for both teams last year. First place in the CAA regular season for the UNCW Seahawks. Chris Neal winning the CAA Coach of the Year in 2021. And his 4th season at the helm, back for year number 5 at his alma mater. Meanwhile, Coach Knoll looking for her first career win as a head coach. A shout out to the Charlotte Soccer Academy in the house tonight. Walked out, as you saw coming on the air. They were standing alongside the teams out there at center field.
Parham just flying in there for the header. Just gone out for a throw-in, but it got a big ooh from this crowd as she just flew in to win that header.
Credit where it's due. People flying all over the field here on opening night. Sometimes you kind of see a little lag maybe in terms of getting into it, but from the very get-go of this game, everybody just selling out, trying to make that big play for one side or the other. 15:50 left to go here in the first half. That ball will be played back to Erica Turner. Allowed just 12 goals last year, did Turner in net. Less than 10 shots a game given up by the Royals.
Guglielmo, a great step through.
Ball loose down the right side, kicked out of play. Good clear out that time by freshman Taylor O'Brien. Emmanuel will come on the field. As will number 25, Sarah Kelly. Left foot coming from the own, too far wide and out of play.
Yeah, interesting there. Now with 15 minutes left to play, Coach Knoll has already subbed out both of those wing backs, both Svensson and Durant, who started the game in those roles, have come off for Keely Jackson and Kelly at this point. So you can tell they're asking a lot of those wing backs. They're asking a lot of ground to be covered by them. Kelly already is all the way into the offensive third here. Jackson on the other side as well. They're going to have to get all the way back into the defensive third in transition moments. So you can tell it's a very obvious strategy to keep those players fresh and keep them able to put in that amount of effort over the entire course of the game. Sometimes you can't ask, especially in the first game of the season, when everyone's still a little bit in preseason shape, trying to find their legs, trying to find their match fitness. That rotation will help.
As much as coaches don't want to hear it, preseason and exhibitions are a little bit different of a tune-up than it is in regular season games, especially for this Royals program with so many people in attendance and such a big atmosphere and such a big night, trying to make a splash here on this Thursday evening. They'll be back here to do it again on Sunday morning, but looking for win number 1 at the Division I level in program history here tonight against UNCW. I'm going to tell you what, I know it's a little bit different UNCW team, but that would be a heck of a get if you are the Royals trying to come up with a win here in your first try against this program.
A little transition moment here for the Seahawks, though, if they can take advantage.
Good job to slow that down just a bit, as it was the freshman Savannah Stewart that at least got a little bit of the bottom heel on it.
Yeah, pretty crucial little block there because they had numbers going through. If they could have connected that first pass, it would have been a very difficult moment for the back line. So she's done well to read that situation and get in there and get a piece of that.
We'll throw in there, running across the field at a pretty quick pace that time. It was Olivia Bean, a freshman out of Hickory, right up the road. Coming out of Lenore Ryan's backyard, play a little Division I soccer for Coach Knoll.
Yeah, the game's really settled in now at this point. The pace of the game has dropped off. The intensity of the game has dropped off just a bit. But the Royals looking very comfortable. Have had a good spell this last 5-10 minutes where they've been able to keep the ball down on this end, which is important to just keep your legs under you and put a little bit of confidence in.
Throw in headed out of play, so it'll be another throw in here to the right side for Keely Jackson. Jackson, senior out of Kannapolis, up the road. Like we said, great on-ball defender. Last year was the most she'd ever played as Dutton sends one right side way top left. As that ball was interestingly coming down in a bit of a rainbow arc, but enough to keep on carrying and knuckle out of play.
Yeah, I'm not. That's one of those classic ones where if it goes in the back of the net, she tells you she's shooting. If it goes to another Queens player and they finish, she's going to tell you it's across. A little bit of a tweener.
Some of the young Royals faithful in attendance here tonight. Part of the Charlotte Soccer Academy. Many folks on hand here this evening for this historic night in Queens program history. You know, that's one thing that has always stood out to me about this Queens University of Charlotte. A smaller school, one of the smallest, if not the smallest Division I schools in the nation coming into this year. But I'll tell you what, support from not just family and friends and alumni, but other athletes at this school is just exceptional. Impromptu cheers, gotta love it. Hey, you gotta establish something if you're gonna be a worthwhile soccer program, and you know this, working for the Charlotte FC.
That's what
you guys have.
That's what soccer's all about. You go to a Charlotte FC game, you got the supporter section just chanting and singing the entire game. So
that place gets bananas. Let me tell you.
Absolutely, I think we see our little chant leaders plotting up something else down here as well. So good to see putting a little bit of environment and energy in the crowd.
Of course, a lot of good things happening in the soccer world when it comes to the city of Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte FC, the newest member of MLS. You've been working for them just celebrating a year a couple of days ago, so congrats on that.
Appreciate that.
Glad that you could carve some time out, come hang out with us here. And, of course, we'll have you on ESPN when we get to that point. But
hey, as long as I'm not at Bank of America Stadium working a game, I'll be here at Dixon Field.
I love it. We'll call this Bank of America Junior. Yeah,
absolutely. A
like
breeding ground.
Yeah, exactly. Long goal kick there from Erica Turner. Guglielmo will find her right foot to it. Guglielmo, another one of those players that will run through a brick wall for you. And trip is called, a little delayed whistle that time, but a free kick coming.
And I joke about that breeding ground, but last night, Charlotte FC beat New York City FC 3-1, and Brant Bronico, a UNC Charlotte product, scored the game-winning goal.
There you go.
And when you make the step up to D1, you attract a higher level of player that can hopefully move on to that level. So hopefully one day we see a Royal playing for Charlotte FC or for another team in MLS.
Men's soccer getting underway this weekend.
Absolutely. NWSL as well. The Seahawks had their leading scorer from last year.
Oh, into the box, flicked on with the right foot, but clears high on that one, and a little jump on that one, as they probably want that back. That was one of the best chances we've seen. That's the returning leading goal scorer in senior Jordan Favory out of Ontario, Canada. Returns tied for the team lead a season ago, had 5, alongside Kayla Burrows, who we haven't called her name much tonight, but Favory, again, stepping on the field, and all of a sudden she's right involved in the play.
Absolutely.
8:35 left to go here in half number 1. We're still scoreless on this beautiful Thursday night in Charlotte. We appreciate you joining us here on the Queen Sports Network. For those joining us at home, we'll be back here again at 10 a.m. on Sunday against Ball State for these first 2 games. Then everything else will flip over to the ESPN Plus platform come September the 7th. But final, I guess, first and only 2 home games here, at least for right now, for this program to start the season. Field hockey gets underway next Friday. And we talked about the tough road schedules. They are going to be proven road teams. I don't care if they have NCAA championship appearances or not this season. The Road Warriors are going to be the Queens Royals. That is for sure, as the vast majority of their schedules will be spent traveling. Only Charlotte school in the A-Sun, and in fact, only Carolina's school in the A-Sun, as they head down to Georgia to be the next closest. Cover markets like Nashville, Louisville, now Charlotte, of course. But the A-Sun, excited to be a part of that conference. They have welcomed this school with open arms, that's for sure. And they're a great group of people to work with, so we're excited to strike up that partnership this year. That ball screams in towards the middle, but Savannah Stewart, the freshman, will head it on out. Stays here with the Seahawks. A little touch on there. Favory not reading it, though, as heads out of bounds and through the middle. And that'll be a goal kick now here for Erica Turner. Sarah Kelly, sophomore defender from Lakeland, Florida, out up top, number 25 in white towards that top flank. Your forwards right now, looking like it's Keely Jackson, Natalie Leone, and Connie Dutton. More Dutton and Leone, though, on the forward side right now. Keely Jackson will slide back and play a little bit more midfield more often than not.
Yeah, playing that right wing back role. So
pushing the back call.
Ad hoc winger in attack.
Well,
ad hoc right-sided defender in defense.
And we talked about this a lot last year of what, what this team is able to do in terms of just shuffling folks around. A lot of these players can come out and play really into position. It's not like, hey, she's just a forward, that's all she can do. They can play pretty much any position on the field, and I got to imagine if you're going to be a good Division I athlete, you have to be multi-talented.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of very flexible players on this roster, which is very important as a season stretches on, as suspensions, injuries, all sorts of things are going to throw your best laid plans into chaos. So it's always important to be a flexible player that can play at a lot of positions. That will get you more opportunities on the field more often than not.
Quick throw in there. Mia Emanuel reads it well, kicks it back out of play, so they'll just move it about 25 yards up the sideline here to throw it back in. Have to get rid of the other ball off the field first. Now throw in popped up in the air, controlled by the Seahawks. Right side, it's Favory. Tight rope in the sideline, and Mia Emanuel able to keep a foot off of it. A little dance move out there to make sure that she could get inside. I'd say if you're talking about time of possession, of course, it's been controlled by the Seahawks, but at the same time, they haven't necessarily had the quality chances they would have liked up to this point with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. But here comes another one. Guglielmo will head it back out, though, for the Royals. And now a chance trying to get a little run out the other way. Flicked on, Leone trying to turn on the afterburners up the up the left flank. And it's run down by defender Chloe Mills, the 6'1" Newburgh, Indiana native, as she punches it out. Connie Dutton, though, showing already she can kind of squeeze through some bodies and get inside. Hard line drive across the middle from Leone, but no one there to touch it on, and it goes right to Hannah Wise in goal.
Yeah, you'd love to see the Royals just get a couple more numbers in the box there. When you see Leon shaping up to deliver that in the box, you'd love to see Jackson arriving hard on the back post, following in Emmanuel, maybe getting another midfielder in there, and just overwhelming the defense a bit.
Another high bounce, long feeding passes here as that one will stay just to the left of the flag there. So a throw in coming deep in the left corner here for UNCW. They look to go quick, but instead they'll set it up a bit here. Talia Paris will come down and get into the left side. Kind of an ill-advised throw that time as Jackson able to find it pretty easily. Try and get it to Connie Dutton. She backed up a little bit too far. Defender punches it out just to stop the flow.
Yeah, it's good reading of the game there from Taylor O'Brien for the Seahawks. Dutton just trying to find her, trying to make contact so she can hold that ball up, but ends up winning a throw for the Royals anyway.
And you want to talk about going one coast to the next. Taylor O'Brien, an Edmonds, Washington native out at UNC Wilmington. Can't get much farther until you hit the ocean in Wilmington, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Jackson will have a throw in right down here in front of the men's soccer team here for Queens. And, of course, the Charlotte Soccer Academy faithful in attendance tonight. A lot of young ladies getting an opportunity to walk out with both these teams. And that's the other thing you talk about as you move up into Division I. You start to take a little bit more of that leader mentor role on. So, you know, these opportunities that you get to have with these youngsters that come out and stand beside you, have to carry yourself a little bit different because they're looking up to you a little bit differently.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're a little kid and you come out and you see a Division I college soccer game, you come out and you see an MLS game, you even see a high-level high school soccer game. They look up to those people that are on the field and they dream of one day being on there as well. So it's very important that you carry yourself in the right way and set the proper example.
Quick little feed in that time by Savannah Stewart out of Alpharetta, Georgia. 5'6" freshman, playing mainly defensive side of the field. Taking over the number 10 from Aaron McCafferty from a season ago. We'll touch on trying to find Leon there on the far side by Kelly, but a little bit too much off the inside of the foot, and heads back to the Seahawks here at Hannah Wise in goal. 1:50 to go in the first half, still scoreless here at Dixon Field in Charlotte. Opening night of Division I action for the Queens University of Charlotte. One of the newest members of Division I here this season. As that ball will head on, a lot of left spin on that one. It just kept trickling on out as Erica Turner will let it roll out and she'll kick it out. I don't think she was too sure on whether or not one of her teammates touched it.
Yeah,
she might have thought Jackson had a foot on it, so didn't want a corner kick.
Yeah, she rethought that about 2 or 3 different times, but she's ended up getting a goal kick anyway, so she's gotten away with it. But she
planned it all.
Yeah, at first she decided Jackson touched it, then she thought not, and then she thought it again, and so she just took no risk, put it out for a throw-in.
Last year, all-region, all-state second team, South Atlantic Conference first teamer, 22 starts in goal, 81 saves, 87.1% in net for Erica Turner. All career highs for her. In fact, her career high in saves, I should say, back in 2019 had 102 saves, but
it gives you so much confidence to have that high level of a goalkeeper behind you as a back line and as an entire 11. Good opportunity for Dutton to run it down into the channel here. Wins a throw-in, but yeah, she's just so confident. She communicates so well. She's so good coming out and claiming aerial balls. She's a great shot stopper, a great 1v1. It just gives you such a level of comfort when you know if I give up 1 or 2 chances, there's a little mistake here and there. A high-level team needs their goalkeeper to bail them out every once in a while, and it's very comforting to have that type of goalkeeper on your team.
And that was crucial all throughout the postseason last year. Now Keely Jackson, right side, trying to run it down. Too much weight behind that pass by Dutton, and it goes out as under 10 seconds to go here. Final seconds coming off here in the first half as we will go to halftime. Scoreless here on this Thursday night on the Queen Sports Network, live from Dixon Field. Your Royals looking for their first ever Division I win against the UNCW Seahawks here on this Thursday night of action. We will keep it live here on the field as a special presentation coming your way. We will take a break. Will Martin, Mike Glenn will be back in just a couple of moments to get you set for the second half. Still scoreless. Anybody's ball game here in Charlotte.
welcome Queens University of Charlotte President Dan Lugo and Tina Lugo and son Michael to the field to be presented with a number 22 Queens women's soccer jersey by Queens Director of Athletics, Sherry Scribell. The jersey is signed by all members of the 2022 women's soccer team. It has tonight's Queens inaugural Division I game patch on it, commemorating this special night in Queens history.
Can we finish off the birthday cake?
And we would also like to present Director of Athletics, Sherry Scribell, with a commemorative soccer ball that has been signed by all members of the team, as tonight's game day match is well. Presenting Sherry with the ball is Queens Alum and Assistant Athletic Director of Communications, Felicia Short. Reminder fans, use the hashtag #BeTheFirst in all of your social media posts tonight. Help us capture this moment in history. Our champions recover from long hours of tough training and delicious food, of course. Visit Chick-fil-A, O's Southwest Grill, and McAllister's Deli, all proud sponsors of Queens Athletics. Don't the Royals look sharp tonight? Under Armour is the official uniform provider for Queens Athletics. Visit queenslockerroom.com to get your official Royals gear today. Academy Bus, the official transportation of Queens Athletics. You're in good hands. The hotel in the Charlotte area, choose Queens Athletics host hotel partner, Extended Stay America. Queens is pleased to partner with hotels in the Charlotte area to be the preferred host hotels of the Royals. Visit queensathletic.com to learn more about special Queens rates. Fans, it's t-shirt time. Make some noise so the Royal Street Team will toss a shirt your way. Reminder fans, immediately following the game, athletes will be signing autographs and posters. Along the fence, closest to the stands. Your autographs.
Once royalty carves out its place in history, it becomes an empire. And an empire needs room to grow. People call us an empire. We simply call ourselves Royals. Queens has been committed to excellence in everything we do. Now, we've leveled up. We're faster. We're stronger. We're better than ever. And now, we're ready for a new challenge. Our legacy has expanded. ASUN is now our domain. Whether it's away or at home, on the diamond, even when no one is watching, working, training, coaching, in the moments that define our empire, Royals are Division I.
Every journey has a starting point. Each student has a moment when talent and passion meet opportunity. At the intersection of challenge and support, self-discovery fuels breakthroughs, and leaders emerge prepared for what's next. I grew up loving music. It possesses this very real, very unique power for connection and healing, and my journey as a music therapist took shape here.
I discovered the pool offered a more level playing field and the chance to push my limits. At Queens, there's so much opportunity, and our potential for greatness accelerates with every step of our collective journey.
I've always had a knack for chemistry, and that talent has magnified since I got here, rippling out in new directions. I'm not afraid to take risks. I believe challenges make us stronger, and innovation only comes when we're willing to lean into the unknown.
I'm still not sure what the future holds, but whatever it is, Queens has prepared me for it.
My professors push me in the classroom and believe in my abilities.
My coaches, professors, all of us, we're one team, one family.
Here, my voice is heard. I'm given the freedom to be myself and charter new opportunities for change.
Here, strength comes from within.
Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
Once royalty carves out its place in history, it becomes an empire. And an empire needs room to grow. People call us an empire. We simply call ourselves Royals. Queens has been committed to excellence in everything we do. Now, we've leveled up. We're faster. We're stronger. We're better than ever. And now, we're ready for a new challenge. Our legacy has expanded. ASUN is now our domain, whether it's away or at home. On the diamond, even when no one is watching. Working, training, coaching. In the moments that define our empire, Royals are Division I.
Every journey has a starting point. Each student has a moment when talent and passion meet opportunity. At the intersection of challenge and support, self-discovery fuels breakthroughs, and leaders emerge prepared for what's next. I grew up loving music. It possesses this very real, very unique power for connection and healing. And my journey as a music therapist took shape here.
I discovered the pool offered a more level playing field and the chance to push my limits. At Queens, there's so much opportunity, and our potential for greatness accelerates with every step of our collective journey.
I've always had a knack for chemistry, and that talent has magnified since I got here, rippling out in new directions. I'm not afraid to take risks. I believe challenges make us stronger, and innovation only comes when we're willing to lean into the unknown.
I'm still not sure what the future holds, but whatever it is, Queens has prepared me for it.
My professors push me in the classroom and believe in my abilities.
My coaches, professors, all of us, we're one team, one family.
Here, my voice is heard. I'm given the freedom to be myself and charter new opportunities for change.
Here, strength comes from within.
Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
Test, okay. 3, 2, 1, test. 3, 2, 1, test. Any audio?
Back here on the Queen Sports
Any
Network.
audio?
Glad to have you along with us for halftime as we go back
Second
into
half
the
about to
second
get
half of
underway.
action. Let's kick it over to Kat Biancardi.
And I know for a fact Coach Neely Noel is doing pretty happy, feeling good about this Royals team. One of the big principles of this new era in Queens soccer is what Erica Turner told me is total team soccer, meaning just because someone's an attacker doesn't mean that they don't play defense. This team is trying to play as a unit and really work to be forward together.
Well, we are back and ready to go. Sorry about that, and a thank you to Kat for joining us. Kat Biancardi will be alongside us for Sideline throughout the season, as we appreciate that. And actually, Will, you and I alluded to that in the first half of being able to step up and play multiple roles. That is crucial at any level, but especially when you're trying to make a splash heading in to the newest level of soccer.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this team, this coaching staff wants to go deep. They want to use as much of their roster as possible throughout the season, keep women fresh on the field, keep it ticking over. So it's very important to be able to step into whatever roles needed.
Well, we're back and ready to go. Both sides will switch to the other side, right to left now. Here is the Royals as a new goalkeeper out there as well, Blair Barefoot, the junior goalkeeper returner from last year, a Wilmington native. She will be out in between the pipes here for the second half for Coach Chris Neal and the UNCW Seahawks. Last year, Blair Barefoot had a heck of a season. As they'll go to the right side, trying to run it down. Erica Turner, of course, still out there for the Royals, as that one will pop innocently back towards her, and she'll have a goal kick.
Yeah, interesting one there on the halftime goalkeeper change. Typically, by the time you hit your normal season, you see an established number one take over and play the entirety of a game. So to get to this point and to have Barefoot and Wise both splitting and playing a half is a little bit unusual, and I think probably speaks to the high level of quality that both goalkeepers possess, that they might still be in a little bit of a competition for that number one jersey.
Well, and like you said, I mean, both goalkeepers were in a backup role a season ago. If you look at Blair Barefoot, played 289 minutes, 6 games played, allowed just 4 goals, had 11 saves. It was 3-2-0 in between the pipes. But she's out there here for second half. We'll see if maybe that can be the recipe for the Royals. But UNCW picking right up where they left off, controlling the time of possession and really controlling the offensive side of the field here throughout this game.
Yeah, it's been a strong little start here in the opening 2 minutes from the Seahawks. Sustained pressure. The question just is whether, for both teams, can they convert some pressure in the final third to a clear-cut chance? Both teams just missing that final unlocking pass, that final touch that's going to create a high-quality opportunity. On the Queens side, really looking for Sophia Mutides to be that player, as good opportunity to get the ball in the box here.
Nice
Good
little
defending,
back heel there by Keely Jackson on the defensive side of things. A very good on-ball defender. That one just skirts the line. Beautiful little pass in that time by Paris, but
yeah, you can see Mutides running up to about half field right now. She's got essentially 2 defensive midfielders in behind them, and she has freedom in that central attacking midfield role to go wherever, to come find the game. And it's really going to be a lot of the time on her to find that little creative moment, that little slip pass into one of the forwards, a shot from outside the 18, an early cross to unlock that Seahawks defense. So looking for her as a key for the Royals here in the second half.
well, and you see the foot that Erica Turner has there in the goal as she's able to clear that pretty much 3/4 of the way. And how crucial is that to have a goalkeeper that can flip the field like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to be a top-class goalkeeper, you've got to be able to hit the ball far on your goal kicks and to hit them where you want. Kind of an underappreciated part of the game. Throw-ins, goal kicks, you can take them for granted, but they are a big part of the game. And if you're not executing them well, you're missing out on that extra 1-2%.
Royals making the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017 last year. It's been since 2015 for the Seahawks. Them getting upset last year by the number 4 seed in the conference tournament did not help them in an at-large bid situation. So, unfortunately, they missed out on the postseason, at least for the NCAAs. Looking to get back for just the 3rd time in school history, 2009, 2015. Meanwhile, the Royals were there last year. Now, of course, they'll have to hit that hiatus. They will not be able to compete for championships, at least for the first couple of years. You know, everything has been talked about. Will that rule go by the wayside? Who knows? Either way, they're going out there and competing for an A-Sun title this year and just making the best of what they can throughout the entirety of this season. It'll be a corner kick, I should say, here for the UNCW Seahawks. First real chance here in the second half, about 5 minutes in, as will be number 4, Hannah Aristigi, the one to set it up there on that far side of the field. They'll keep the Seahawks offensive players, a few of them out up top, 3 of them lining the goal line right now. Here it comes, low liner across the middle, punched out, still out in front, trickles in, and it's good! UNCW strikes first. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the taller players on the field, just right place, right time, and it was indeed, as it was Chloe Mills, the graduate defender, out there trying to play that size advantage. Ball got loose and able to get it by Erica Turner right to the right side.
Yeah, that's a frustrating goal to concede 5 minutes into the first half for the Royals. Erica Turner just coming out, trying to punch that, doesn't get quite enough on it, and whenever the ball drops inside the 6-yard box with 20 players all inside the 6-yard box, it's always going to spell trouble, and it's more often than not going to get bundled over the goal line, which is what happened there. Important now to see how the Royals respond.
Offside flag is raised.
Yeah, center referee just hasn't seen the offside flag yet.
Ball just kicking around loose out here, still holding it, and finally does see it. And the ball will be turned back over here to the Royals. But, you know, this is a big spot right here for Queens. You still got 40 minutes left to play. Plenty of time to find that equalizer here in this second half, but can't panic. You can't let a mistake play get by you and unfortunately kind of rule the rest of this game. You got to make sure you keep your head in it, and we'll see if they can do just that and bounce back.
Yeah, they've been playing really well. They haven't really given up that many opportunities from open play. And unfortunately, just execution on set pieces bit them there. But they're very much in this game. They'll have taken a lot of confidence going into the halftime at 0-0. They feel like they belong in this game, no longer feel like, oh, we're a D2 team playing in D1. That first half was important for them. And so I don't think that confidence will be necessarily shaken by a simple mistake on the corner. But now it's about responding. Can you create a little bit of offensive pressure to get that equalizing goal?
And that's something they really didn't have towards the latter half of that first half, was that offensive pressure. A lot of it controlled by UNCW. A couple of mistakes from them, didn't get the opportunities they wanted. But it's only a matter of time against a good Division I program that you can only play with fire for so long. A little switch heel that time by Sophia Mutertes, but right back to the Seahawks it goes. And now a long pass this to the right direction. And Morgan Reeb, they wanted a handball on her, didn't get it. Durant battling for it, and it goes off of the Seahawks and out of play. It's Carrie Allard, the one that gets called.
That has 100% come off of her arm, but it's not given as a handball because she's 3 inches away from where the Seahawks player is kicking the ball, and her arm is down in a natural position by her side. It's the correct decision from the referee. Despite the ball hitting the hand, it's not an intentional handball.
So Durant will throw it in here for the Royals, trying to find that equalizer if indeed they can. 1-0 after the ball trickled into the back off of a corner kick. It was punched out originally by Erica Turner, but found its way to a Seahawk who just kind of flipped it in. It was Chloe Mills that's credited for the first goal on the season for the Seahawks. Meanwhile, now a chance for the Royals. Mutertes right side, kicks it towards the middle, trying to find Gaither, but it one hops to a defender's leg, and is punched back out. Svensson, a good job to hold on to it here for Queens. Just missed it, and now an opportunity given away again. Blair Barefoot not going to have to face a shot on that possession.
Yeah, that's a really good hold-up play there from Connie Dutton, the freshman, getting the start in the second half here to start that play. And then it's held up. It's gotten over to Keely Jackson, who's burst forward, and they've created a really good transition moment, have the Royals. And then Mutertes with a good ball in the box, and then the second time it comes to Mutertes, she just needed to slip in Svensson on that third-man run. And just made the wrong run, made the wrong decision, not quite on the same page, but good signs.
Jackson taken to the ground, nothing called. Ball given back here to the Seahawks. Long play down the left side. Morgan Reeb going to try to run it down, and she does as she'll usher it back along to Erica Turner. A quick right foot by her, back out towards midfield. Header, a little bit errant that time. Ooh, and they'll give it to the Seahawks right in front of their own bench. Long throw in, going to a reserve out there, but they can't touch it, so Queens will take it back. High Rainbow back towards midfield this time. Nice little play on with the back of the head by Aristigi. Good switch to the left.
Numbers in the back post.
Cross coming, but well out of play to the left side of the goalpost.
That's what I'm talking. I mentioned that in the first half when the Royals only got one person in the box. Right there, you get space on the left side, time to pick your head up and deliver, and they get 3 players inside the box. Outnumbered the Royals for a second, and if the service had been better, it would have been a really good chance on the back post there. Something to look out for.
Well, these are the kind of games both these teams played in a lot last season. Both teams with double-digit wins, 11-4-1 overall for UNCW, 16-5-1 for the Royals. And they were involved in a lot of one-goal games, both for and against them, but at the same time, this is a team that on both sides, you get a 1-goal lead. We talked about it last year. A 1-goal lead for Queens could have meant a 3 or 4 goal lead for a lot of other teams with the way they play defense. Same goes for UNCW. A fantastic defensive team. Allowed just 15 goals in the entirety of last season. Scored only 28, but that's really all they needed. As that one finds its way back to Erica Turner. A couple of Seahawks there, but Turner emphatically takes that one down out of the air.
Yeah, and we've seen that today in the play style and the way the whole game has played out. Very cagey, both teams really being very conservative in their decisions, conservative amount of people they're sending forward. Not a lot of chances in the game, not a very open, stretched game so far.
Beautiful warm night here in Charlotte. 34-52 left to go here in the ball game. A 1-0 lead for the visiting Seahawks of UNC Wilmington. Chloe Mills with the opening and only goal so far here in the game. Ball loose. Muterte's trying to get there, but a goal kick going to be called. Men's basketball players for Queens down on the far sideline want to know where the contact was, but can't get the call inside the box, so it'll go back over to Blair Barefoot in the net. Hasn't had to face much so far since coming on in the second half, at least to this point. Good crowd on hand here. Nervous moments, wanting to will their team to a win, or at the very least try to see if they can't find a tie here in the second half. And you know, you talked about right before the Seahawks score, we talked about it, who's going to take advantage of a mistake here and there. Well, that same mistake can happen on the other side of the field. You just got to apply that pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to put yourself in good opportunities consistently, and good things happen.
Now another chance down the right side. It's Gaither this time. Slid into, trying to get there, and it's out of play. And back over. Inside the goal box, and Gaither taken to the ground. Her teammates wanted some contact, but nothing called.
I think they've actually given a handball against Gaither there. She went down and just grabbed the ball. A little bit of a weird one. Difficult to see from our vantage point whether there was any contact in that moment, but that's the danger. Gaither can just break a game open in a second with her pace, and she just gets very direct and drives into the box. Good moments from her. You want to see a little bit more of that as they look for an equalizer.
And if you're just joining us, welcome into the Queen Sports Network, coming to you live from Dixon Field here in Charlotte, North Carolina, home of your Queens University of Charlotte Royals in their first ever Division I competition. UNC Wilmington a 1-0 lead after scoring just about 6 minutes into this second half on a play out in front of the goal off of a corner kick. Trying to apply that pressure through the midfield right now are the Seahawks. Svensson, though, will control it here for Queens. One of only two Q schools in Division I, with Quinnipiac being the other one. But Queens trying to make the...
Good stat there.
Hey, you know, I try to come up with those little nuggets every once in a while, but...
Would have been better if it was the only one.
I know.
It's always frustrating when that doesn't work out perfectly.
Queens trying to make them the only known Q school.
There you go.
Anyway, right? Blair Barefoot will have a goal kick here. 32:08 left to play in this one. Queens will be right back here at Dixon Field on Sunday morning, a 10 a.m. kickoff against Ball State. Before they head on the road for a couple of weeks, they'll be back on the 15th of September. That'll be their first ever ESPN Plus broadcast, and we're excited to bring that to you. It starts on September the 7th with men's soccer against Gardner-Webb. We will be live and ready to go on ESPN Plus, so make sure you get signed up now and ready to go for that. Durant with a takeaway about midfield. Svensson somehow splits a pair of defenders, gets it back to Morgan Reeb, and she'll kick it on back to Erica Turner. Mutertees comes away with it. They got numbers far side. Mutertees didn't see it in time, a little bit too much individual that time, and it's taken away by the Seahawks defense. Not the right defense to try to go one-on-one with them, as they will collapse on you in a hurry. Ball kind of ping-ponging around here and given away by Guglielmo midfield. Those are the kind of chances you just can't give away, as they will play on towards the midfield. Now it's a chance back the other direction. Lauren Doyle, a freshman out of Chapel Hill, making the run down the right flank. One-on-one with Palmer here. Tries to go. Palmer having none of that. She'll kick it through, but it'll be a corner kick here for the Seahawks.
Yeah, those are those moments. That's what I'm talking about. That final pass just hasn't quite been there yet. Plenty of time for it to still come. Really great opportunity for Mutertees to put Jackson in on that far side on a numbers up situation, but just couldn't pick her head up. The ball was bobbling a little bit, but at the end of the day, Mutertees is the player that you want on the ball in those situations. If she can keep picking it up in those situations, she'll pick that final pass sooner rather than later.
Third corner of the night for the Seahawks, 1 for 2 so far. Left foot entry pass, a low line drive back towards the middle. Ooh, and a contact made there as Guglielmo hits the deck. As that looked like it It might have been Parham just coming in, throwing the body into her, and it is. Still no cards in the game, so a clean game thus far at least. 3 substitutes set to check in here for the Royals, and that's something that Coach Neal has been flexing so far here tonight, is the depth he has, getting a lot of freshmen in on the game as well. And like we said, with the defense that both these teams have, a 1-goal lead is a pretty good lead to have if indeed you're trying to come away with a win. But Keely Jackson will get it to Gaither. Gaither trying to get it inside, kicks off, and now it'll be a corner kick to the far side of the field.
There we go, that's so good. Ball gets in a wide area, you've got some space, and you've got 3 Royals immediately filling the box. That's the kind of initiative going forward that you need to create good opportunities for yourself, create situations where a mistake is made and you can capitalize on it. A lot of subs coming in and off.
As Roberts will enter the game for the first time here tonight. Another young player for this team and Coach Knoll. Maddie Leone back on the field as well as they'll stack the box here with some goal scorers. Pass gets loose over, left foot coming, gets down but headed out. Good defensive play as it was Chloe Mills, the 6'1 graduate senior transfer out of Northern Kentucky. And comes away, helps out Blair Barefoot. I don't know if Barefoot saw that ball coming in, but Chloe Mills did. She had a goal on the other side and then plays her natural position and has a good header defensively.
Yeah, I think the most interesting substitution here is Olivia Bean coming on for Guglielmo. Guglielmo, just a true defensive midfield 6. I think it's a very aggressive offensive substitution from Coach Knoll, bringing on Bean to pair with Svensson in midfield, who's moved inside after playing right wing back in the first half, along with Muterdes. It's a very aggressive midfield going to look for that equalizer.
I was saying, looking for a little bit more speed. Nothing against Guglielmo. She is a fantastic on-ball defender, but you bring some fresh legs out and a freshman in Olivia Bean and just let her sprint down the sideline and just try to stay on side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, look, if you lose the game 2-0, you'd rather lose the game 2-0 trying to win the game than being passive and conservative and just letting the game play out to a 1-0 loss.
Sure. Morgan Reeb will kick it to the right side, headed back by the Seahawks. As now Savannah Stewart, the freshman for the Royals, will step up and control it. Defensive back line trying to feed it to the middle. Svensson kicking it on ahead, ricochets off her shin. And back to the Seahawks. Dangerous pass that time around midfield by UNCW. Stewart off the left side of the foot, and kind of the freshman jitters on that one. Didn't want to try to control it, try to kick it down the field, but went off the side of the foot and out of play.
Yeah, it's a little bit of panic in that moment. I think she thought the winger that was in behind her was closing her down quickly, and just had a lot more time than she thought she did, clearly. She could have taken that down and played out.
So a throw in coming. Carrie Allard, the graduate senior, will throw it in as Palmer trying to run it down here for Queens. Stays in possession of the Seahawks. Still in, but now an offside is called as...
I think it's actually just, yeah, it looks like it's just gone out of bounds for a goal kick there.
So it did go out of bounds.
Which is why Erica Turner's left that. She's known it's gone out of bounds.
That was the sophomore Kayla Burrows out of Ashboro. Comes back with 5 goals from a season ago. Was one of the best freshmen in the CAA last season. Trying to win their 2nd consecutive CAA regular season title are the Seahawks. It would be the 2nd in Chris Neal's era. And there's Bean, you mentioned it, touches it onto herself, and now tips it on up ahead. Nothing whistled, and now a late whistle coming. And that might be our first card of the game, and it is, and it goes against the Seahawks. And there you mentioned it. Olivia Bean coming on for the
Roberts,
speed.
actually.
Excuse me, my apologies. That was Roberts coming on. Noelle Roberts, the freshman forward out of Charlotte, a Mallory Creek graduate, alongside her teammate Jada Palmer. Palmer, a senior, was a senior.
Yeah, that's a great moment from Roberts. It's a really great little half turn to get herself in, and a great little burst of pace. See our first yellow card of the game and a pretty dangerous free kick here for the Royals. Muterdes standing over it. Lots of big bodies in the box. Now trying to create some chaos.
Now Noelle Roberts will come over and talk to her about it here just a little bit. Roberts will split wide as Savannah Stewart set to go. They'll send Muterdes down to the bottom left. Freshman Stewart raises the hand. Here it comes. Left post, up and ahead. And once again, it's Chloe Mills, the 6'1 graduate defender. Will kick it on out of play. It'll stay here with Queens. And trying for a quick re-entry that time As it was Olivia Bean just threw it out of play, though, trying to find Mutertes down the left side.
Yeah, Mutertes in the box, not over the free kick. Saw the 0, got the 30 and 10 mixed up.
Listen,
Funny as well.
the fact that we can
Typically a player playing in the number 10 role, who is Mutertes, would be wearing the number 10, not a center back wearing the number 10 as a soccer guy. Really amusing in a certain way to see a center back wearing number 10. You don't see that often. But
Listen, from our distance, if you can see the numbers, that's in and of itself.
hey,
That's all right.
Absolutely.
25 minutes left to go here in the game. 1-0 still for UNCW here on the road. As Durant splits the defense, gets taken down, and she hits the knee off the turf. She'll get right back up, and another chance now to enter it in towards the box here for Queens on a set piece. So we saw the set piece from the right side. What's the idea here? Just switch the sides of the field, try to get it back on the same spot?
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one. The other one was closer in. This one's going to have to be clipped in a little bit more rather than whipped in.
They go right side with it, headed it on. Still up in the air, trying to get it. A little bicycle kick comes back the other direction by the Seahawks defense. And gets it out of the goal box for now. It trickles back towards midfield. Good run down on the far side of the field by Hilda Svensson. Ball somehow tightropes that sideline, stays in play. And now Stewart will just usher it back on here to Erica Turner.
Yeah, very good delivery there from Stewart. Just clipped it in, and there's the little mistake you're talking about. It's just a missed header. It flicks onto the back post. Keely Jackson alive to it. Good little opportunity, but Seahawks coming the other way.
Seahawks trying to push the action. Reeves slides in, kicks it out of play for another corner.
Yeah, good cover from Reeves. She had there was a Seahawk player right on that penalty spot, ready for the cutback. It was a pretty vital tackle there from Reeves.
So Carrie Allard will come off. Another Seahawk onto the field. Pretty easy to keep track of which side is which. The highlighter pink pennies over there for UNCW. Meanwhile, the highlighter green, the choice for the home team in the Royals. Another one to the top side. That's the one they scored off of last time. They'll go low on it this time around, and read well by the defense as now Gaither will just clear it out with the left foot. And it'll bounce well past midfield and out of play for a throw in here for the Seahawks. It'll be Summer Beasley, former high school teammate of Blair Barefoot. And actually 3 former John Hoggard School graduates out of Wilmington, all stayed home for their collegiate careers. Blair Barefoot in goal. Now, she's a unique story, and Royals know her in some facet. She went originally to Lenore Rhine to play basketball and then ended up transferring to UNCW to play soccer. It'll be a Royals free kick here to the left side of midfield. So 3 consecutive set pieces here for Queens. Haven't been able to do anything with the first 2. Ooh. And now Getwin gets in, diving play there by Barefoot. Will keep it in play, and they're going to have another corner as she couldn't keep it in play. And it bounced.
Another good delivery there from Stewart. And once again, Seahawks player just getting up and not getting enough height, and it's just flicking off the top of her head, and it's a really, really good save from Barefoot. It just trickles out for a corner, though.
So Grace Guglielmo back on here. She'll take the place of Hilda Svensson.
Yeah, Svensson with a really good shift there in midfield. Traditionally a right back and a right wing back, but looked very comfortable in there in midfield. Very effective, moved the ball very well, got stuck in a couple tackles. Impressive performance here from her in the second half there.
As we're trying to dodge a Hornet up here in the booth. Either way, ball is up, out in front, Gaither left foot, still kicking around just wide, and Durant gets it punched out of the play.
Couple opportunities there for the Royals. Couple swings at it, deflecting around, similar to the goal the Seahawks scored earlier.
And that was just straight panic mode out in front for the Seahawks defense, as that ball was a little too close for comfort. Blairfoot trying to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And luckily for her, defense helps her out, sliding tackle.
Yeah, that moment as a defender, you just get as many bodies on the goal line as possible and just do your best to block the shot, but Mutertes to deliver.
So we'll square it up, try it again from the near side. That one high arcing across. Barefoot reads it well, comes up and puts both mitts on it.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. command her area, come out, give her team a breather by catching that rather than punching it.
Best thing you can do as a goalkeeper. Don't let the defense make a mistake, right?
Absolutely.
So Barefoot will let everybody clear on out before she puts this one back in play. Comes off the right side of the foot. Durant will run it down here for the Royals. And it'll go off of UNCW back to Queens. So Queens has ratcheted up the pressure in the midfield over these last couple of minutes and has really tried to apply pressure, get the ball back. They've had, I'd say, controlled the time of possession over the last 10 to 15 minutes. Just unfortunately for them, haven't been able to find the wealth of riches at all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Mike. They've really been on top of the game since conceding the goal. Have created a couple good chances, especially off of set pieces. A couple little moments of brilliance, one from Noelle Roberts, one from Nia Gaither. A little bit of pace, a little bit of directness. So it's been a good response from the Royals so far, and just lacking those shots on goal. They haven't really tested the keeper yet.
Under 20 minutes left to tick here at Dixon Field on this Thursday night. And now a quick little feed on to the left side, but Kayla Burrows just too far out in front of the front toe of that one, and it goes out of play. It'll be a throw in here for Noelle Roberts.
Yeah, big 4v3 moment there. Jada Palmer and Savannah Stewart trying to step up and play that offside strap, and luckily for them, it's just drifted out of bounds on that far side. The pass with a little bit too much weight on it. Missed opportunity there.
Gotta love these late August games. Lights are on, but still pretty visible out here as we approach the 7:30 mark here in Charlotte. 19 minutes left to go here in the game. As a handball going to get called there. Saw that one bounce up off of Guglielmo, so it'll stay there for a free kick here for the Seahawks. So a set piece that we haven't seen in a while here for UNCW. We'll see what they decide to draw up here for us.
Grace Keller with kick.
Ball entered in here far side. Left foot on a high pop-up. Gets behind Turner. Header is there! Turner didn't read it right. And Paris comes up and heads it in, and it's 2-0 Seahawks with 18 and a half left to play.
Yeah, another frustrating one to concede. It's always frustrating to concede off of set pieces, Mike, when you've played so well from open play. And you've done so well throughout the game to limit opportunities and to give a goal up on a corner and a goal up on a free kick. Credit to UNCW, doing really well. And now it's going to be about, as you see the Queens coaches there discussing what they do to change this around and really throw some numbers forward with 18 minutes left to try to get 2 more goals.
Coach Knoll there on the right. Sage Diatierli, her assistant in the middle. And Keegan Burton, a former Royal in and of his own right. Graduated last year. As now Gaither just trying to play a little aggression here as she kicks it to the right side. Well contained by Roberts. A little flick on back to herself there. And if anything, I like the play of Noelle Roberts. She's come on and shown that
been a spark plug off the bench. Absolutely.
She's a very quick mover out there off the bench for Coach Knoll. Gaither just trying to play a 2-woman game with Guglielmo, but it gets taken away. And unfortunately, that's been the name of the game defensively tonight for the Seahawks. Seal off anything and everything. And that's exactly what they did last year and why they won the regular season title in the CAA. Is they just out-hustled everybody else on the defensive side, would get a 1, maybe 2-goal lead, and then be able to do it. We saw, let's be honest, last year in 16 wins for the Royals, I'd say 14 of those 16 wins were the same exact way, besides maybe the postseason wins where it was an evenly split game.
Yeah, and just to go back to that goal real quick, what UNCW has done well there is they've taken it short initially and then set it back to the original free kick taker. So that's created some chaos in the box because now everyone's moving around in the box. A couple Royals lost their marks. It was all over the place. And then unfortunately, Erica Turner just misread that cross. It happens. It is what it is, and it's happened on the back post. But well done from UNCW. Good play design, getting bodies moved around and getting some people open rather than just serving it in directly.
And win or lose tonight, a long, long season left to go here for the Royals. So plenty of time to get it going. And, you know, we talked to Coach Knoll, and I asked her, I said, you know, how important is winning tonight? And, of course, winning, that's why you play the game, is to win the game. But that being said, Coach Knoll said, listen, if we can go out there and get better with each and every day, I'm okay with that. Win or lose, just try to play your hearts out. Like you said, whether you win 5-0, 1-0, doesn't matter. If you play until that final whistle, that's going to be the big thing for you. And that's what Coach Knoll's looking for, and that's what she's getting right now out of her team. A couple of mistakes here and there, but for the most part, they've played pretty strong.
Yeah, they played pretty strong, and it's pretty clear that they belong on this field with UNCW and that they belong at this level. And so they'll take some confidence out of that, especially in open play. You can chalk it up, 2 mistakes, 2 set pieces is what it is. But hey, we're talking like they've lost the game already. They've still got 16 minutes left to go get some goals, and they've done a good job creating some chances. A lot of space for the wing back here at Durant.
The question is, who will score the first Division I goal in women's soccer history here for this program? As Maddie Leone up the left side keeps it in play, gets it back to Durant. Durant tripped up a bit. Ooh, and left foot almost to the head, ducked it out of the way in time, but she draws the whistle, and a ball will be just to the outside of the left side of the box here. And
all right, I really like where this free kick is positioned, Mike, because this is one of those really interesting ones where you can just fire it in with a lot of whip towards that back post. And it's going to freeze the goalkeeper because there's so many bodies in front of her that she's going to have to wait to see if there's a deflection. If you can hit it with enough pace to that back post, all it takes is a touch from either player to just send it into the goal, or it'll fly straight in.
Leone will enter it, pops it up right towards Barefoot, and she jumps up, two-handed grab, and takes it in as Maddie Leone trying to play the odds and catch the goalkeeper napping, trying to go for the net, but just a little bit too much down the middle. Didn't make her work very much.
Yeah, she's dinked that. She's clipped that in a little bit more. I would have loved to see her just step through the ball, strike it with a lot of pace, and just look for a deflection. But just trying to get the ball in a good area to get that last touch, get that final little chaos.
And Barefoot, a goal kick off the hop that time. Ooh. And a lot of legs flying all around. It'll stay here with the Royals. Durant was jockeying for position with Summer Beasley. UNCW, though, shaping up, looking like they're going to be a pretty strong team to contend with, looking for their second consecutive CAA regular season title. Again, they were upset in the semis last year. They were the odds-on favorite to go on and win the CAA conference tournament title and, of course, get that automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. But still looking for that third ever trip to the NCAA. His last one in 2015 for UNCW. Have finished atop the conference for 2 straight years. Of course, that season shortened. No postseason in the CAA a couple of years back. Turner slides in and makes a play. After 2 Seahawks got behind the defense, Erica Turner came out and shows off what she's able to do and what she's capable of in the net.
Yeah, good reading of the game. She's done well to know that there's a player on the back post there. She's just coming out, commanding her area, securing the ball. It's good positioning and good goalkeeping.
Ball kicking around here. Jada Palmer comes up, puts a head to it. She will draw the whistle. It was Kayla Burrows, the one whistled for at that time. It's funny, you look across this UNCW lineup, they do a lot of good recruiting out of the state of North Carolina. A lot of North Carolina natives on this team, very few from anywhere else. As Coach Neal has that pipeline for himself, has been a part of UNCW for a long, long time. His alma mater, was a volunteer assistant coach for the women's team for a long time.
Great positioning, great body positioning there from Jada Palmer. She's done well just to put herself in the right position, knows where the ball is going to bounce, and just use that body positioning to shield the ball away from Kayla Burrows and calmly play it out for Queen's possession.
We go under 13 minutes left to play here at Dixon Field in the opening game of the 2022 season. UNCW on top 2-0 right now after a couple of well-timed goals here in this second half. And funny enough, both by defenders. Guglielmo with a good takeaway on the ball. Will try to feed it up to Durant, but just too much behind that pass as she kicks it on down the left side and out of play.
Number 2, Taylor O'Brien. Number 28, Claudia Ferris. Number 3, Ainsley Gore. And for number 18, Ira Vanis.
And now Chris Neal will go to the bench and get a whole new set of fresh legs out there with a 2-0 lead under 12 to play. Feel a little confident with the opening game of the season, so looking like they will be on their way to a 1-0 win. Now, that being said, we saw a lot of crazy things happen within 5 or 10 minutes in a couple of games last year, but we'll see what the Royals can mount here. If anything, just looking to try to make this competitive and at least make UNCW think about it before they got to leave here.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 is a dangerous lead to have. You start to feel pretty comfortable. You make a couple changes. You switch off a little bit, and all of a sudden, other team gets one, and then it's a game. And it's not nearly as comfortable as you thought it was. So here's a good opportunity to get a good ball in the box here from Durant.
And a Dixon Field record here tonight, 825 in attendance for the first ever Queens Division I game in school history. And a shout out to the Royals fans, new and old. The UNCW folks making the trip out as well to be a part of that. And we, of course, thank each and every person for tuning in at home. If you couldn't make it out, make sure you get down here at some point this season. But we appreciate you tuning in here to the Queen Sports Network. We're coming back here again on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock against Ball State. Momentous, though, a chance on another corner on the left side. And we'll take a couple more seconds here to get set. Another substitution for Chris Neal. So Seahawks look like they are set to go. Momentous still on the ball, ready to rock. Couple of close chances here in the second half. Can they make it a ball game here?
Short to Svensson.
They'll feed it out short to Hill to Svensson. Svensson looking for it left side. Tries to go up, and it's punched up by Barefoot and out of play. But actually, they'll say it went off the crossbar. Yeah. That was a nice little pop-up there and a bit of a rainbow by Svensson. Had some curl back to the left on it, and I think more of a chance than Barefoot thought it was going to have.
Yeah, made Barefoot think about it for a second. Looked like one of those was going to sail over, and then it just started dropping. Barefoot got a little panicky on it, but comes off the crossbar, unfortunately.
Well, we saw back on Sunday night, Nia Gaither against Winthrop in that exhibition, hit one from about the same distance on the left side with the left foot, and it just went up and around and curled right up in the top left 90 of the goal. But just not for the Royals here tonight. Durant,
good press.
Good takeaway there. Leone looking to feed it on. Durant, a foot race. Can she get into the box before it gets cleared? No. Good clearance that time by Taylor O'Brien. It'll stay here with Queens on a throw-in for Durant. And shout out to Durant. She is just her second start as a Royal in her career, and she's making it count. She's been all over the field tonight. As the fresh legs come on, take it away, Ainsley Knorr, another Wilmington, North Carolina native, high school teammate of Summer Beasley and Blair Barefoot, and John T. Hoggard.
Yeah, Durant's been very impactful in this second half, much more involved than she was in the first half. Has gotten in quite a little bit on this left side, has had a couple really good pressing moments to win the ball back for Queens in advanced positions. So very strong performance from her in her second start.
UNCW will be on the road this weekend. They'll play the number 10 ranked team in the nation, and the UNC Chapel Hill, good old Tar Heels, as they'll make one more stop in Chapel Hill before heading back home for the first time this season. Out towards Wilmington is now Durant, shoved to the ground. And ball will be here for the Royals. Durant has been all over the field tonight, both on her feet and off her feet as well, as Bentley Seton, the one that was whistled. Seton, Charlotte native, in her junior year at UNC Wilmington, went to Ardrey Kell High School right down the road. Always a little something when you come back and play in your hometown for another team, right?
Yeah.
Leone with a good takeaway, but taken right back defensively by the Seahawks, and now they'll look to push it. Loose ball through the midfield there, trying to run it down. They do in front of their own bench. Addison Henry controls. Feeds it on through the middle. Number 21, Cameron Keene, up and ahead. Now another chance for the Seahawks. Kicked off the foot there of Savannah Stewart, now to play, but another corner here for UNCW. 8:15 left to go here in the game. 2-0, trying to add to that lead. Here are the Seahawks. As you see on your screen there, Seahawks pretty well scattered here for this corner. Again, up 2-0, under 8 minutes to play. Trying a few things out here, it seems. A few different personnel packages, if you will. Nice little cross in to the near post, but cleared out by Durant. But right back to the Seahawks. A jumping header that time by Palmer thwarts a pass towards the middle. And now flicked on here as Noelle Roberts will run it down to the near side. Looking to play it onto herself, gets around the defender. kicked back the other direction. And Will, you know, you look at this game on film, whether a win or loss, some good things stand out to you for Queens. What have you seen tonight here for the Royals?
Yeah, I think I've seen very good defensive solidity. They've been very good in open play. UNC Wilmington has not had very many clear-cut opportunities from open play. It's just been the 2 set-piece goals. So that's a big positive I would take, as well as, let's see if we get in here.
Leone trying to get there, hits a rocket, but it goes out of play. Almost a mistake by Taylor O'Brien on that one, but indeed will get out of play, and Blair Barefoot will have a chance to boot it on down as another substitution for both sides. Grace Sane will come on for the first time here tonight as Savannah Stewart taking her starting spot here. Grace Sane, though, just from right down the road in Clover, had a fantastic 2021. She will be in this lineup a lot here this year.
Yeah, Savannah Stewart's impressed in preseason, and that's what you want in a team. You want competition for places so that people aren't complacent and so that you have depth in the case of injuries, suspensions, anything along those lines. So great to see Grace Sane out there for her regular season debut this year.
Started 42 of her 48 games played, now 42 of 49 in her career as she'll run down that left side here one-on-one with Aristigi. Little flick off pass there, but once again, right there's Grace Sane. A good job on the defensive back. Erica Turner, we talked about, the All-A-Sun fan vote winner for preseason goalkeeper of the year. And a shout out to the Royals faithful doing that. A lot of them in attendance here tonight.
Yep.
At the very least, creating a fun, family-friendly atmosphere here at Dixon Field for the entirety of this season. Of course, now into this newest chapter and era in Queens University of Charlotte athletics. Bodies still flying all over the field with 5:22 left to play. It's Carrie Allard now with it, out of Belmont, Massachusetts, in her 5th and final year as a Seahawk.
Seahawks substitution. Number 22, Nicole Poole.
And Nicole Poole, another freshman out of Mooresville, North Carolina, right down the road, will hop onto the field here as she takes the place of Chloe Mills, who did her job, who effectively at this point has the game winner under her belt to start her season, a 2-0 lead, but she scored the opening goal about 6 minutes into this second half, and UNCW has not looked back since.
Yeah, great performance from Mills. Contributed to the defensive solidity that we've seen from the Seahawks throughout the game. Got herself on the score sheet, and good performance. Good way to start off her regular season.
Pass comes in. Murty's trying to run it down. And a couple players hugging out there on the field, but that is not allowed. So it'll be a free kick here for the Royals. Palmer will stop it in a hurry for her goalkeeper. Under 5 to play. A little urgency coming from the Royals now. Noelle Roberts plays it on. Seahawks trying to get there. Good shield off down that left side. As it was Carrie Allard, the one that ran it down with her. Again, Royals women's soccer back here on the field on Sunday at 10 a.m. Then next Friday, field hockey will be the second team at home to get their Division I play underway. As we'll have that one here on the Queen Sports Network for you on our YouTube page as well. But don't forget, our ESPN Plus debut coming up on September the 7th, as men's soccer will play host for the first home game of the season for them against Gardner-Webb out of the Big South. Now Palmer will screen off the offensive player, 3:45 to go. Still 2-0 UNCW. Queens trying to find that first Division I goal here tonight. Roberts goes to Anique, steps back up, keeps control. She'll find Guglielmo, who kicks it right side. Didn't see the lurking defender, though, as she tried to find Svensson down that right wing, but nothing there. Back ahead go the Seahawks, and Guglielmo, never in any fear of making contact with you. She'll get whistled for the yellow card, first for the Royals on the season. We appreciate you joining us here on this Thursday night of action. 825 in attendance here for the first ever Division I contest in Queens University of Charlotte history, and a shout out to everybody both here and at home for tuning in. We appreciate you coming back and joining us on Sunday as well, as Royals will still be in search of that first win coming up against Ball State. Take a look at the men's soccer program out there in the background of that shot. Here's the beautiful Dixon Field. Ball bouncing around, headed out by Jada Palmer. A Seahawk is down in the box.
Yeah, and the game will be stopped here because she's holding her head, so it looks like a bit of a head injury. So always take as much precaution as you can. Looks like she's popping up and okay.
Hop right back up. Trainer going to have to come onto the field, like you said. Anytime you go down grabbing your head, that's an automatic stoppage of play. Looks like it was Ainsley Knorr, the sophomore out of Wilmington, that took the worst of that one. We talked about it. Jada Palmer, one of the most physical players out there at any level. And so you run into that. Sometimes it's going to smart, but looks like Ainsley Knorr up and off. Looking at her mouth right now, I think she might have caught a shoulder to the face possibly.
Yeah, and while we've got some time here, Mike, as the game starts to wind down with the Seahawks leading 2-0, just one phrase I'm thinking about as we go into the rest of the season with Queens University, talking to the coaching staff for Queens before the game, a phrase that Coach Knoll likes to use a lot is move the needle. And that's whether you're a starter, whether you're a sub, whether you haven't played a minute all season. Where are you right now? What do you think your ceiling is? And how much can we push that forward?
Sure.
So she's all about creating a very competitive environment and making sure she's detail-oriented with every single person on the squad, whether you haven't played at all or whether you've scored 10 goals and played every single minute of the game and of the year. So I think that's creating a really good inclusive environment and a very competitive environment. And hopefully as a team as well, they can keep moving the needle as this season progresses and keep getting better and better and better as they take their first year on in the A-Sun.
You know, I like to call Coach Knoll a broadcaster's coach. You got the players coach, the fans coach, but I like to call her a broadcaster's coach because if you want to meet one of the nicest people on campus, it would be Coach Knoll here in her first season as head coach, and just welcomes you with open arms. And, of course, a shout-out to her and her coaching staff getting this team ready for a big, big spot. You know, you look at it, this is big on all different levels as your first game in Division I, but you are the first team to ever take the field in Division I competition for your school. That's an even bigger stage to be on.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think they've managed, Queens has, I think they've managed the pressure of today. There's been a lot of hype around this game. There's almost 900 people here at the stadium today. And I think they've looked very comfortable in this environment with a little bit more pressure around the game than they might be used to, which I think is a very promising sign as they move in towards the rest of the season.
Well, that's the thing. You mentioned the move of the needle. What can you take away from a game like this, win or lose? And how do you get better each and every day like we talked to Coach about before? Under 2 minutes to go, 1:40 to be exact here on this Thursday night. UNC Wilmington looking like they're going to move to 1-0 to start the year. And, you know, we talked about it, going back to your point there of putting your best foot forward. You're playing a defending conference champion. In fact, a two-time defending conference champion, if you will. Finished in first in the regular season 2 years ago in the South Division when they split it up as a part of that weird 2020 that ended up being a spring season. No postseason for them, but a team that has finished in the top 3 for 4 straight seasons at the Division I level in their conference. That's no slouch of an opponent. You know what I mean? That's a tough opponent to open up your campaign against.
Yeah, look, they've opened up against an extremely good UNCW team that's returned a lot of players from those very strong 2020 and 2021 teams. And I think they can take a lot of confidence from looking like they very much belong on the field with this level of team. And look, you'll go back and you'll watch the film and you'll say, okay, we played well, we were in the game, we had a couple chances here and there. UNCW had a couple chances here and there. And at the end of the day, they capitalized on 2 set pieces and we didn't capitalize on our set pieces. Those were very fixable things, very tangible things that you can take forward to try to improve.
Well, again, you know, putting yourself in those positions, and that's exactly what Queens has done here. Even after giving up the 2 goals, they didn't stop. They just kept going at it harder and harder.
And after conceding the first goal, they had a period of 10, 15 minutes where they were the dominant team in this game and really threatening and getting forward with a lot of numbers, which I think is very promising because they've also had some offensive output despite the lack of goals on the scoreboard today.
Final 5 seconds coming off the clock here. Ball goes out of play as UNC Wilmington will start the 2022 campaign at 1-0. Royals will fall to 0-1, but a spectacular occasion here on this Thursday night. A shout out to all the folks behind the scenes as well that put on the Lions Den fan zone over before the game, just trying to create an atmosphere for a new chapter and a new era. It has begun, folks. Queens is a Division I product, And they will be right back here on this field coming up on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. to take on Ball State. We will take a break. When we get back, Will Martin and I will wrap things up here from Dixon Field on this Thursday night. Queens falls by a score of 2-0, but we're back right after this on the Queen Sports Network.
Once royalty carves out its place in history, it becomes an empire. And an empire needs room to grow. People call us an empire. We simply call ourselves Royals. Queens has been committed to excellence in everything we do. Now, we've leveled up. We're faster. We're stronger. We're better than ever. And now, we're ready for a new challenge. Our legacy has expanded. ASUN is now our domain, whether it's away or at home. On the diamond, even when no one is watching. Working, training, coaching. In the moments that define our empire, Royals are Division I.
Every journey has a starting point. Each student has a moment when talent and passion meet opportunity. At the intersection of challenge and support, self-discovery fuels breakthroughs, and leaders emerge prepared for what's next. I grew up loving music. It possesses this very real, very unique power for connection and healing. And my journey as a music therapist took shape here.
I discovered the pool offered a more level playing field and the chance to push my limits. At Queens, there's so much opportunity, and our potential for greatness accelerates with every step of our collective journey.
I've always had a knack for chemistry, and that talent has magnified since I got here, rippling out in new directions. I'm not afraid to take risks. I believe challenges make us stronger, and innovation only comes when we're willing to lean into the unknown.
I'm still not sure what the future holds, but whatever it is, Queens has prepared me for it.
My professors push me in the classroom and believe in my abilities.
My coaches, professors, all of us, we're one team, one family.
Here, my voice is heard. I'm given the freedom to be myself and charter new opportunities for change.
Here, strength comes from within.
Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
Back here as we wrap things up at Dixon Field on this beautiful Thursday night. Royals falling in their first ever Division I competition by a final of 2-0. But Mike Glenn alongside Will Martin here for the call. And Will, you know, looking at this, you got to be proud of your alma mater, again, for coming out here and playing against a two-time conference champion over the last couple of years in UNC Wilmington. A fantastic team over on the other side for the Seahawks. They have a big 2022 ahead for them, I am sure. But meanwhile, the Royals looking ahead now at Ball State coming up, and then they go on the road for a little bit, and then they're back here. The first time they get back here is opening up ASUN play against Florida Gulf Coast. So what do you take away if you're Coach Knoll as you look at the final stats there on your screen?
I think the biggest takeaway, just in general for fans in general, is that this team is very much going to still be in preseason mode throughout this non-conference schedule. You've got to remember, with no NCAA possible for this team, you can treat a lot of these non-conference games as an opportunity to build into those conference games and then hit your stride and hit your peak. You don't want to be peaking too early. So I don't think there's any reason for panic after a 2-0 loss in the early season, because you've still got that opportunity to hit those conference games, starting with Florida Gulf Coast University at your peak and really starting to figure those things out that we saw tonight, maybe some of those little mistakes.
Well, you know, you think about it, a conference championship is still in the mix for this team.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it may be a lofty goal, but let's be honest, every team starts out with that lofty goal being a conference champion. I don't care if you're Lipscomb, Kennesaw State, or the number 14th ranked in the conference, the Queen's University of Charlotte Royals here in your first year as Division I. You have that chance and you have that opportunity. How do you make the most of that?
Yeah, you shouldn't even be out here if winning at the highest level possible isn't in your preseason goals and what you're wanting to do, both from a coaching staff standpoint and from a player standpoint. So I think it is going to be very important for them to continue to keep that perspective of the relative importance of these non-conference games and keep building and keep moving that needle, as Coach Noel likes to say.
Well, shout out to all the fans in attendance. A record 825 here at Dixon Field on the opening day of Division I play for the Queen's University of Charlotte. Thank you so much for watching at home as well. We hope you come back and join us on Sunday morning as Nick Kloss, Kat Biancardi will be on the call for that one against Ball State as they head on the road after that. But either way, we appreciate you tuning in. For all those behind the scenes and for those on camera, we appreciate you. Go outside, enjoy the rest of your night, folks. And for the Queen Sports Network,